right there, changing my voice. This video is about Genesis chapter 2. Before I begin, I'd like to point out that Americans did things that were extremely disrespectful before I begin this video. Some of them were disgusting, some had to do with fumes and poisons. One had to do with a guy who's a white person, sound like he's from the South. They use various people from various groups, various races, but mostly white, Jew, and LGBT people are behind it. And in the name of their families, in the name of their churches, their mosques, their synagogues, they sought to interfere with my videos. They didn't seek to debate me fair and square publicly, like it says in John 3. They were tail-tucked and acting in a very cowardly manner. Obviously, God commands them to kill people who are trying to interfere in a deliberate psychological operation sort of way, for example, rather than interfere themselves. You see it all throughout the Old Testament, and the Bible ends with extreme punishment and extreme suffering for all the rebels. Are they man enough to do that? No. Not even close. Not even close. So in order to not break the rules on YouTube, I'll put in the description or the comments whether or not America is cursed to the extreme, and its offspring for interfering with this video series. They knew what I was doing. These people are monitoring me very closely. They knew that I'm working on the Genesis playlist. They knew that what I'm doing isn't just for God, but on top of that, it's an emphasis on explaining things of God for God. And that's the kind of country that you live in. That is the spirit that you're in. That's the spirit you submit to, and the spirit that you're in. The spirit it was in which it was given, the spirit in which it was received. So now let's get into Genesis 2, shall we? And keep in mind, they say things like, well, make it up to you. How do you make it up to Christ that you're interfering time and time again when he's making his videos, about the Bible, what have you? It can't be done. Changing my voice, trying to make it so I sound retarded or gay or white, it's retarded. Okay. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the seventh day God had finished the work he had been doing, so on the seventh day he rested from all of his work. Okay, so the 7 is the number of purity, it's the number of finality, it's the number of holiness, it's the number of completion. This connects to the 7 bowls, the 7 trumpets, the 7 churches, the 7 seals, the 7 thunders, etc. in Revelation. And God blessed the 7th day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating he had done. So it explains that this day is considered holy because of what God did. Just like I'm considered holy. My work is considered holy because God set me apart as his very own. So when America and the Jews, rich Jews, rich whites, everyone rolling with them, it's basically the rest of the world according to their deeds. Everyone during this time period knows that certain groups are more guilty than others, certain individuals. Okay? When they do that, they are insulting God. And I thank God I'm not in their spirit. I thank God I'm not helping them. I thank God I'm not here to help them or to magically bless them. I have nothing to do with blessing them. The amount of disrespect that's been aimed at God from rich whites, rich Jews, and rich LGBT with countless Americans helping them out is unbelievable. I can't believe any nation is so dumb as to insult God to this degree. Thank God I have no love for this country whatsoever. Adam and Eve. This is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created, when the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. Now no shrub had yet appeared on earth or land, and no plant had yet sprung up. For the Lord God had not set rain on the earth, and there was no one to work the ground. So notice, no plant had yet sprung up. So when God is creating these things in chapter 1, they weren't actually physically created. So a lot of people are reading chapter 1 and they think it's literal, they think they're actually created. No. The Bible is figurative. Right? It's figurative in its sum total form, and it talks about ideas that are very real, like morality, like the top martial arts being the son of God, what have you. And like complete cowards being jealous and persecute him. But streams or mists came up from the earth and watered the whole surface of the ground. And in Proverbs 21 verse 1 it says, in the Lord's hand the king's heart is a stream of water that he channels toward all who please him. So, in the Lord's hand, the king's heart is a mist of water that he channels toward all who please him. It's one way to interpret it. Now, who would interpret it that way? Well, it would be interpreted that way by people who want to make it a mystery, right? The mist and the mystery, the fog of war, the fugue state of mind, like a fugitive, a fugue state of mind, this kind of scatterbrained, kind of guilty, kind of detached state of mind that's associated with brain seizures. And the word fog and fugue also connects to the derogatory term for LGBT, for gays, the F, the second letter A, and the last letter G. Okay? That is people who think like that in the occult, who are gay supremacists, for example, like Crowley was. Okay? They think that way. They think that it should be covered up. It shouldn't. We see that in John 3. It says clear as day that the truth should be said in the light. And, it's in Matthew 10, we're declared the glory of God from the roofs, right? What is whispered should be declared from the roofs, and so on and so forth. Then the Lord God formed a man, or Adam, Adamah, means ground, from the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And the man became a living being. Now the Lord God had planted a garden in the east in Eden, and there he put the man he had formed. Now keep in mind that the Bible is Bible, right? It's superimposed on something else. The Garden of Eden is in the spirit realm, okay? We see that for many reasons, right? The Garden of Eden isn't here. We know that for so many reasons. One, in Revelation, where you see the earth is transforming into the top layer of hell, right? The streams are turning into blood. The land is being destroyed. It never says that, that a magic wand is waved and the earth becomes something better. No, you don't spend a lot of time ruining a planet and then immediately transform it into something good. That is not how it works. Okay? And the people interpret that way are clearly evil. These are the type of people who calculate raping and killing people for generations and try to set the stage for people to believe that their offspring are chosen and can rule the world from the most corrupt country in the world or the second most or whatever. Okay, it doesn't work that way. You reap what you sow. That's why it's the wise builders versus the foolish builders, right? It's a generational building, and they're building hell. That's why the bell rhymes with hell. Bible, by bell, by hell, by the L, the magic spell, what have you. The Lord God made all kinds of trees grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food. In the middle of the garden were the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river watering the garden flowed from Eden. From there it was separated into 4 headwaters. The name of the first is the Pishon. It winds through the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is good. Aromatic resin or pearls and onyx are also there. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It winds through the entire land of Cush. The name of the third river is the Tigris. It runs along the east of Asher. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. And these things are very key in Revelation 16, for example. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to take care of it. And the Lord God commanded the man, you are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die. He's talking about spiritually die, mind you. And they use that kind of semantics in the Bible, right? The snake is using the kind of the Tower of Babel tactic, right? This is before the Tower of Babel, but he's using that wordplay, which is really, brought to light in the story of the Tower of Babel. The Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. This is something the West has way wrong, right? You can see their dating processes, unbelievable. Their idols, their false idols, like the royals, the English royals, unbelievably satanic. Unbelievably satanic. They don't understand the idea of a suitable helper. They even try to get me to settle countless gays, try to catfish me. I mean, they are way off the mark. Their political movements, their social movements, their churches, their mosques, their synagogues, utterly abhorrent to God, and everyone knows that. That is the fact of the matter here. That is part of understanding the truth here. According to the Bible, using the scale given there, their churches, mosques, and synagogues are all wrong. And if you're wrong and you claim to represent God, then you are evil. I'm not saying that people should, shoot up a church or something. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that you need to understand that there is one way, one truth, and one life, so to speak. And they aren't it. They're all cheating me because they don't have the wisdom, the masculinity, the sense, the heart, the insight. They are very, very out of bounds. And when people who are out of bounds die, they go to hell. All who cheat me out of my right to lead. And notice that part comes after the part where it says you will certainly die. So if you use the tree of knowledge to control dating, my goodness, are you a disgrace? My goodness, is your heritage a disgrace? There's no other way to look at it. And of course, they're not supposed to be leveraging the tree of knowledge, like a crafty snake, like an idiot, what have you. Now the Lord God had formed out of the ground all the wild animals and all the birds in the sky. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them. And whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. So the man gave names to all the livestock, the birds in the sky, and all the wild animals. But for Adam, no suitable helper was found. Just like right now, right? You see, it's a world full of idiots and very evil people, and there's no suitable helper. I met some females that are kind of nice, but there's no suitable helper. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs, or took part of the man's side. The two became one flesh, and then closed up the place with flesh. Now again, the governing class, the churches, the mosques, the synagogues, everyone else, they're not God. They have no business trying to play God and trying to control dating. I can't stress that enough. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib or place he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. Now notice God didn't merge them together. This is God doing what he's supposed to do. The man had not done anything wrong yet. The woman didn't do anything wrong yet. God is creating them. He made two separate beings. And when they make love, right, the two become one flesh. We'll get to that momentarily. Two separate beings. When they make love, when they get married, they become one flesh. Not two gender-neutral idiots, but two separate beings. The people who don't understand that are very, very crazy, very deranged, very illogical. The man said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She should be called woman, for she was taken out of man." So the man not only was made in God's image first, but he gave her her name. So God gave dominion over the earth to the man. And so over time, I'm in God's image. I'm the Son of God. I'm the King of Kings. Other people aren't. So the dominion, first and foremost, is mine, not other people. They are thieves to their extreme disgrace. And some try to pretend that they're superior to other people. They even try to pretend that they're superior to what everyone knows they're not, which is me. You could see me in a car full of dirt with raggedy clothes on. You see some privileged person pull up in a Mercedes, you know they're an idiot, and you know I'm the Son of God unless you're an idiot. It's that simple. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. Why did they feel no shame? Because they didn't understand what it means to have righteous acts, nor did they need to understand. God was going to clothe them on his time. He was going to teach them the ropes on his time. And the snake says, "No, let me beat you to it." Like we see here with the dating, right? And the snake is a phallic symbol, and it's like the tree. It's like it can be seen similarly to a spear, depending on what spear we're talking about. There's a spear that's the lightning bolt of God, and there's a spear that's like a snake, right? You know, sometimes people pick up a snake thinking they're picking up a stick, right? So there's these various patterns in nature, right? There's the good water and there's the poison water. There's the good stick and the bad stick, the good tree and the bad tree, the good fruit and the bad fruit, and so on and so forth. So it's very clear that the Freemasons, the churches, the mosques, the synagogues, the military, the police, the government, the political groups, every group you can think of, right? They worship the devil. And they're trying to beat me to influencing people in order to help them. You know, they want to hurt them, and I'm trying to help them find a suitable helper who's going to help them do God's work and help them be the best them they can be. And they've separated me from attractive women, and they've kept them from obeying God through me to their extreme disgrace, because they're not men, and they are profoundly disgraced. And God has not a speck of love for them.